7:04. We'll start our meeting. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Secretary, may we have roll call, please?
Mayor Hepkins. Present. President Johnson.
Present.
Vice President Rollcloud.
Here.
Council Harris. She's on the phone. Okay. Hey, how are you? I want to put you on speaker.
Please excuse me, I'm sorry. Have we finished roll call?
All right. Council Harris. Okay. Councilor Jones Waters.
Present.
Councilor Beatty. Present. Councilor Monroe. Councilor Brooks. Councilor Brooks.
No, she's not on.
Solicitor Kilkenny.
Here.
Finance Director present. Tax Collector Hughes. And Engineer Pannoni.
Here.
Roll call is complete, Madam President.
Thank you. At this time, is Dr. B. Coates here?
Not this time, he's dealing with a family crisis, however, Bob Kaufman, the business administrator, and prepared to make a presentation.
Okay.
And that one there? Yes.
Could you speak into that microphone, please?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry, what is your name?
Bob Kaufman, I am the business administrator with the William Penn School District. With me.
Spell your last name for me, please.
Kaufmann.
Thank you.
Yes.
Someone have the login information? We have a presentation there.
Look over your shoulder while you type that.
If I'm correct, this is about an 8-minute presentation about
Yes,
the
it's not
Kerr Field and, okay, thank you. Excuse me, would it be more feasible for me to allow someone else to speak while you're working on that?
It should be good to go, but I can start while it's loading up.
There it is. There you go.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
okay.
Appreciate your patience while we figured out our technical difficulties. As I said, I am Bob Kaufman. I am the business administrator with the William Penn School District. With me, I have Ms. Tyra Brown, Assistant Superintendent, and Mr. Darnell Deans. Dr. Becoates is unfortunately dealing with a family crisis this evening. However, we felt it was imperative to deliver.
Could you bring the microphone up?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Is that
There
better?
you go.
Sorry about that. We thought it was imperative that we still provided the community update about the constructions that has happened at Kerr Field with the athletic complex. Some background we wanted to provide about the we wanted to give some background about our outreach efforts thus far. Last March, we provided an overall facilities master plan letter to the 6 boroughs outlining the 10-year plan that we had. Then we provided presentations to the boroughs in April of 2022. Then we followed up once we had the approved plan to continue with the construction at Kerr Field of the athletic complex in January 23. Over the summer, we wanted to provide an update while we were about halfway through construction. However, I think with timing and things like that, we weren't able to get a schedule that worked for both parties. And then we sent an updated letter in July of 23. So as you can see, the overall budget for Kerr Field construction was about $14.6 million. That was broken down into a $7 million grant that we received from the state, as well as about a $7.6 million bond. To pay for that bond, there was a tax increase by about $40 or $90 on average for 8 years to cover the cost of that issuance. And we want to provide a brief status update of the ongoing construction currently. There still needs to be privacy partitions to meet the ADA compliance in the bathrooms. Some of the PA system still needs to be installed. We need to finish installation of the automatic locks, as well as installation of additional cameras for additional coverage to make sure the site is secure, and to install additional fence openings to assist with exiting the facility at end of games and such. Our next steps into fully opening the facility are to review our current policies and policies for field usage, both for internal parties and external parties. And that will be coming up in future policy committee meetings, as well as complete the process of hiring a new athletic director, hiring a full-time custodian that'll be on the site to maintain the facility and make sure it stays in the condition that we've created with this great investment, as well as hiring somebody for full-time security so that, again, we maintain our investment in the facilities to make sure things are taken care of. Some other facility projects that we have in Yaden are the renovations at Evans Elementary, and coming up, we will have renovations at the 9th grade academy. So we just kind of included some drone shots and some other pictures of the current facility to kind of give the community a better view of just the standing on the ground and seeing to see all the changes that were made with the parking lots, fields, the new turf, the new lighting, and things like that. So looking forward, we wanted to invite everybody in the community to our State of the Schools event that we're hosting on November 2nd. That will be at the Green Avenue High School campus at 6 p.m. And there will be a presentation by Dr. B. Coates. And then on November 16th will be the grand opening of the new Kerr Field Athletic Complex at 4 p.m. And then immediately following that, we will be hosting a capital campaign kickoff at the 9th grade academy. So we hope that as many people can will attend and enjoy that event. And that is all we have. Do we have any questions from any board members?
No, it looks very nice, thank you. Does anyone in the audience have any questions for the gentleman from Williamson School District?
Yes, I have a question.
I have two questions.
I'd like to-
You said that after the grand opening, they're going to have a discussion with regards to whether or not it's going to be open to the community. Are we thinking that it may not be open to the community to use that?
No, so the discussion is going to be how and how most effectively and how to staff it to make sure that our investment is not wasted and so that tax dollars do not, need to be re-raised to repair inappropriate behavior or anything of that nature. So until we get to that point, we don't want to just.
Great, no, that's fine. And I had one other question. I had been walking one of the nights when they had a game, it was about 5 blocks away from the field. You could hear the loudspeakers 5 blocks away. Is that appropriate?
Yeah, the loudspeakers, I live 3 blocks away, I can hear it inside my house,
Okay.
with my windows shut.
Okay, so I know the PA system that we have been using has been a rental, so it's not the full-time solution. But what we can do is, and I'm sure Mr. Deans is taking a note now, is that we'll make sure that we get a volume reading once our system's in check to see where we can set the volumes that are appropriate.
That would be awesome.
Thank you so much.
I mean, you're causing hearing damage to the people that are there, it's loud enough for me to hear it.
Sure.
3 blocks away, inside my house, with the windows shut.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
That's a health hazard.
yep, so he's making a note now, and we'll definitely do that when we get the full system implemented and configured.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Barnes.
The Kirkfield Early Morning Walkers are a group of mature adults who have been walking on Kirk track for over 25 years. While we appreciate the beautiful new facility, we would like to express our interest in gaining admission to Kirkfield in the early morning hours. Our consistent group of mostly women begin walking as early as 4:45 a.m. and are not comfortable continuing to walk in the street. Some of the cars that come down the street do not operate their vehicles in a manner that is safe for us. When conditions are icy, the streets are not safe or easy to walk on. We understand that it is the goal of the school district to keep the new track in great condition while having a facility for our students to participate in football, soccer, etc. We have noticed the blacktop that was installed just outside the track, and we are led to believe that it was put there for those who want to walk around the track. But with the locked gates, we cannot access it. While there may be some visitors who may not respect the area, this does not include our group. Are there plans to allow us to access soon? If not, we would like to discuss what we can do to allow us to access. And you have a representative.
Yes, ma'am, and like I said, we are, once we have the locks installed, we'll have time locking systems, and when we're staffed and can open the site, we'll be happy to have people walk around that blacktop track. Mhm. And we will, I assume, make a communication to the community to let them know that it's officially open.
And can you give us a time when it's open all day on 30 miles a day?
So that's one of the things that we'll have to discuss when we're evaluating how much personnel and staffing and items like that, and we'll get that information out to you as soon as we can. But it is something we are actively working on.
And consider the early morning.
One other question. Some of us like to actually walk the actual track itself as opposed to the blacktop. It's much easier on your knees. It also allows more people to walk abreast to one another. So if that could also be taken into consideration as opposed to just that black piece around the track.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely keep that in discussions while we're considering our plan.
You have questions
Oh,
up here.
we have a counselor.
Yes, ma'am.
So, hi. First of all, I want to just say, as a Penwood alum, class of 91, and lifelong Yaden resident, I have dual interest in this facility. I'm very proud of it. But my question is, where are we with the name change? Seems to be a lot of controversy regarding this name possibly being changed. I didn't see anything in the presentation about that. So where are we with the name?
So that is an agenda item on our upcoming business meeting on Monday.
Can I attempt to tell you what I know? I have been talking to Dr. B. Coates as well as the Yaden School Board representatives, and I was at the last business meeting and strongly urged the school board not to discard the Kerr name. And they assured me that the Kerr name will be kept in some capacity, that it'll be, they're debating whether it's going to be called the Rap Curry Athletic Complex at Kerr Field or Kerr Field at the Rap Curry Athletic Complex. So those are the two options that they're deciding, but I'm happy to report they have committed to keep the Kerr name, which I think is a boon for Yaden's, a boon for the William Penn School District, Delaware County, and the state of Pennsylvania, because what William T. Kerr accomplished is in the annals of history. You've got three things, and I expressed that to the school board. You've got the first flag that was made in Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. You've got the flag of Gettysburg, renewed by then President Lincoln came here to Gettysburg to renew the flag. No more Confederate flag. The flag was renewed. And then thirdly, you have Flag Day instituted mainly by the work of longtime Yadenite William T. Kerr. So to throw that out would be shooting ourselves in the foot and not understanding this unprecedented history, and I expressed that to the school board, and they tacitly agreed. Thank you.
Any other counselors?
Just one question. It was already asked, but I didn't hear your response. The ETA with respect to the locks to allow residents to go in the early morning hours to walk?
Sure, so it's a two-part solution. One is to get the timed locks, as well as having the proper staff to make sure that while we know the walkers aren't causing any issues, but if we leave the facility open, it's at what point in time, and when it's unstaffed, could potential problems happen. So we have to have both implemented at the same time. So when we can identify proper personnel and have the time locked installs is when we'll start to open that up.
Do you know
Do
how
you
long that
have
will
an
take?
estimated time that you're going to have this discussion and come up with a solution? I mean, are we saying within the next 30 days or the next 365 days? What are we saying?
Sure, so I know our policy changes, the targets kind of for January, and then hopefully we can open it for early spring for people to access the walking path.
So we're looking at early spring. That's a long time.
Well, let me,
I understand, I understand.
let me ask you,
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
so why would it take that long?
Right.
I mean,
It's
i-
a matter
if
of
you-
unlocking it and
right.
having someone
Why would it take that
available to
long?
watch.
I think it's just getting our familiarity with the facility and to make sure that we have it properly monitored. We want to make sure that we can protect the investment and not have to come back and ask for additional tax dollars. So we want to make sure that we properly understand how to operate everything before we kind of open it up.
Who's securing the investment right now? Who's watching it now?
The Yaden Police Department.
What type of lock is on there?
Yeah, so I don't, and I'm not, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but that answer is not acceptable. I mean, right now, Yaden Police is watching
Right.
the investment. It's all of our investment.
That's right.
And I
Yeah.
don't think it's fair to say we have to wait another 6 months just to be able to go in and take a walk in the morning for some exercise.
And also, what type of lock is this that's on the system where a resident cannot have a key or have a code and be responsible for opening that lock and ensuring that it's locked when they leave?
I don't think that's.
Because this is an awful long time for them to have to wait.
I don't think that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
Mr. Kaufman, I was going to address it because I'll be coming to the November 2nd meeting as well. But while I have you, and not to put pressure on you, but I do want that on your radar screen that, yeah, the issue of, here's the problem, that the field is 100% inside of Yaden. It's in Yaden, and as a matter of fact, in our history is very important. We gave that land, that field, to the William Penn School District, okay, when we amalgamated into into William Penn School District. So we gave that field to you, but it's also 100% in Yaden, which means our residents need to be able to access it because we've been, as some of the residents just said, 25, 30, 40 years we've been working on that track. And the other thing is that we have to police it. We have the response, because it's in Yaden, but it's now belongs to the William Penn School District. So are you going to donate monies to offset staffing that where we have to be there on a continual basis? So we need to discuss that as well. And the other thing we need to discuss, and talking to the police chief, is, and this is a trend around the country, the trend around the country is football games at high schools used to be on Saturday mornings. And around the country, it's been moved to Friday nights, just like here, but you have a more rowdy crowd. Some people are drinking, and you have shootings and things like that. Because it's on Friday night instead of Saturday mornings when there's a more civil crowd. So we would rather it be on Saturday morning as opposed to Friday nights where people are drinking, and you have parents fighting, kids fighting, and it's a much more rowdy crowd. So we need help and I know that there's some preliminary discussions where we have asked, our police chief have asked neighboring boroughs that comprise the William Penn School District to help police on those nights. But, and I believe you guys, the William Penn School District will pay for that extra, but we also need relief as well for our police department. But that's something, Mr. Kaufman, that I hope you take back to the board.
Can I add something, Mayor, real quick? So Dr. B. Coates came here, I believe, in either April or March this year, and he gave this presentation. And one of the things that he promised this community is that he was going to partner with Yaden, because I watched it again recently. And he did say that he wanted to partner with this community. We have an annual Flag Day event, as the mayor spoke about, William T. Kerr, founder of Flag Day. We usually have fireworks for our Flag Day event. I don't know where we're going to be next year as far as what's going to be allowed, but that is something that we need to discuss with Dr. B. Coates as far as what is our, with this being an investment for the whole district, but what is Yaden's investment into Flag Day, because this is traditionally, this is stuff that we've always done here at Kerr Field.
That's right.
So, we would like to see that continue, and I understand $14 million is a lot of money, but Yaden paid their part too, and we gave up the land. So, we need to have a further discussion about Flag Day for next year.
Absolutely.
What we're gonna do
And
about
not only that, Flag Day in 2024 is going to be the 75th anniversary, so it's going to be good, big. We're inviting the governor. We're hoping the governor will come. But we have the oldest continuous Flag Day celebration because of that distinction. When William T. Kerr, who has lived on Cypress Street right behind Kerr Field, was invited by then President Truman to have that, to witness that legislation signed on the front lawn of the White House, and went back to Yaden and lived there till he passed. So we're going to have a big celebration next year for the 75th anniversary, 1949 to 2024, and we're going to have it big.
And also, I would like to say, I would like for you all to consider giving a key or a code to our police department so that they could have those doors open for the residents that want to go over there and walk. There is no reason why the police department cannot have a key or a code to let them in and let them out, please. We would appreciate that. As soon as possible. We don't want to wait 2 months. They should be able to get in now.
And our residents, and I was one of those, I'm one of those residents and my wife that walked that track, and it's been a staple in Yaden for decades, and we don't want to see that stop because of the advancement of a new field.
And lastly, and more importantly, just consider the residents. The
Right.
residents are giving up something too, as well, for having that field here. Their parking spaces, the noise, the crowds,
Increased taxes.
trash, the
Increased
increased
taxes.
taxes.
Yeah.
So what we're asking for is very little compared to what we really
Right.
should be getting.
I agree.
So I hear you, and we want to continue the partnership that, as Dr. B. Coates had mentioned back in March. So I will take the information given to me at this meeting, and we'll get back to
And he can come
the
back
drawing board,
too.
and
Yeah.
we'll see how we can speed things up and try and get to the solutions that you've requested.
And we'd like to see Dr. B. Coates. I came to his meeting.
Right, he
I
needs to
would
come.
like him to come to ours.
That's right.
Yes,
He needs to be
okay.
here.
I'm sure he will. Like I said, he had a family
No, I
crisis.
understand, I understand.
Please,
And it's good to see the Yaden residents out too, to voice your opinion. Thank
and please invite him to our November 6th council workshop meeting. Maybe you all will have made
Yes.
a decision by that time, so that the residents can know whether they can or cannot get into the field to walk.
Okay, I will give him that
November
information.
6th,
Yep.
7 o'clock.
7
Thank
o'clock.
you.
Thank you.
Mr. Kaufman, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for attending and thanks for your presentation.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get ready for citizens forum in just a moment. Clara Johnson, would you like to come up, please? Citizens Forum.
And while Ms. Johnson's coming up, Mr. Kilkenny,
Ms. Johnson, just pull the mic down.
Madam President, if I may, a question for the solicitor. I know in executive session, there was discussion about tabling some agenda items.
Excuse me.
There was discussion about tabling some agenda items before citizens forum because they're asking questions on agenda items. I don't know if you want to announce what agenda items are going to be tabled at this time.
Absolutely. Okay, where are we here? Yeah.
2 related to personnel and 1 related to the Civil Service Commission rules. So under the library, items 1 and 2, and under public safety, the consideration to adopt the rules and regulations for the Civil Service Commission are going to be tabled.
Okay. Excuse me for 1 second, Ms. Johnson. Consideration to table the hire of Shonda McCray as the Youth Service Coordinator at the Yaden Borough Library. May I get a second?
No,
I'm sorry.
I think I misunderstood. I thought when you were going to table, you were just going to say that those things were pulled from the agenda tonight. You don't have to have a motion, I didn't think, to do that.
I don't? Okay,
No,
thank
were-
you.
You were,
Okay.
you announced
Okay,
it, so.
so we're going to pull the A, library, number 1 and number 2. They will be tabled.
And under public safety as well, number 1.
Okay, and C, number
1I.
1, also will be tabled. Thank you very much. Ms. Johnson?
Good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
My first question has to do with the phone, and perhaps the solicitor can help me with an answer to this one. Is there reason and should there be given as to a person who uses the phone to call in? Is it because they're sick? Is it because they're on vacation? Is it because they're working? Or is it that they can just call in because they can call in? What is the protocol for a phone call in for a counselor?
So I'd have to look at your rules per se, but as long as there is a physical quorum, meaning that there are 4 council members here, then that another counselor can participate via Zoom or via a call or anything related to that. And that's been established in state law for several years now.
Should the residents be able to hear that
Well,
counselor?
that person should-
the residents be able to hear that counselor on the phone as well as the counselor hear the residents without someone repeating what they're saying?
Well, it should just be announced that this counselor is on the phone and they're participating. The law requires as participating that they are aware of what's going on in the meeting, they can hear, they can comment. That's what's required.
Okay, that's what you're telling me, or is that what you're going to look up and come back and?
No,
tell
that's what I'm
us?
telling you.
Okay. Thank you. Next thing, we, the community, spoke at the last workshop meeting of our dismay of the thought that Nafis, our finance director, would be responsible via the president's voice for the Community Day payment of $5,000. We, the community, think that's ludicrous. He should not be responsible for that. Johnson and Waters should be responsible for that, not even the taxpayers. When it was voted on the floor that there was no funds, yet the funds was released. Not fair to the taxpayers, and it's not fair to Nafis, who actually ate the mistake the last time of the newspaper. Shouldn't happen. Nafis, please don't put your money out like that. You're too good for the borough to be misused. That's it for now. I'll wait until old business. Do I have to fill out another right to know for, thank you.
Yes, you do. The total was not $5,000. It was $3,000, I think, $100, excuse me, Mr. Nafis Nichols.
Yes, it was $3,108,
And do you know how much has come in total so far?
$1,550.
Okay, thank you.
And, well, I'll get with Councilor Jones Waters about the other check.
I'm sorry.
I said I'll get with Councilor Jones Waters, that we have to follow up about another donation.
Okay, thank you.
May I
Ms.
be recognized? May I be
Aklovich,
recognized?
please step up.
I would like to be recognized, please.
Go ahead.
Just so I'm clear, $1,050.
$550.
$1,550 has been received to date.
So there are still 2 checks that haven't been deposited because I'm trying to do a reconciliation report. I'm waiting for Councilor Jones Wood and I are working on another deposit, so they will be deposited, but the checks are in the possession of the borough too.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thanks.
When meeting minutes are done, they need to be, and citizens forum comments are written out. They need to be in enough detail that people reading can understand the meaning of the comment. This says, Miss Liz A. stated the residents would like an apology from Councilor Jones Waters for her vulgar language directed at an elderly resident during a legislative meeting.
For your vulgar language.
Be amended to that. It should state what the apology is being asked for. And Mr. Nichols, I wanted to ask about the feasibility of adding to.
I can't hear.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Of adding to next year's budget a bodyguard for the mayor, because he has stated during his Faith in Blue worship service that as mayor, he puts his life on the line every day that he is mayor, and that he might be assassinated because he says unpopular things. Unpopular things such as we should not make our events inclusive to all religions. And then he mentioned the Hare Krishnas as not being someone he would invite. So perhaps we could also have Chief Gianmarco reach out to the CID to investigate whether the Hare Krishnas have taken out a hit on the mayor.
I will not respond to that. That's not true. You could,
It's on videotape.
it is on videotape, and you're taking everything out of context.
Mr. Kilkenny, could you please explain the situation with the minutes, please?
Sure. As far as the minutes go, the minutes are what council ultimately approves as their minutes. The minutes do not have to be verbatim. This is not like it needs to be a court reporter taking down a transcript of an official hearing. They are to be, they can be general and state comments. They don't have to talk about specificity of every comment raised during a council meeting.
Thank you.
May I be recognized?
Go ahead,
Mr. Kilkenny, thank you
Sure.
for that. However, when there is an issue being discussed and there is great discussion relating to that issue, there should be a little more description about that in the minutes. It absolutely should be.
Absolutely, Counselor, and what I would suggest then, if your counselor is not satisfied that the minutes encapsulated what exactly happened, then we should work to amend those minutes and add whatever you think is, appropriate, and that would be the proper process for that moving forward.
I have a
Okay,
question.
thank you.
I have
Mhm,
a
go ahead.
question. Mr. Solicitor, prior to the year and a half that we have with the change of the administration, we never recorded the citizens' comments in our minutes. We never did that. And I've been a council member for 8 years. We've never done that before.
That's true.
Online, you can
We've
see.
never done that before.
Not where it was verbatim.
Not
That is
that,
true.
No, there was no comments in our
No.
minutes
No.
at all.
Yes, it was.
At all.
yes, it
Yeah.
was.
No, it was not.
It was.
Before you
Okay.
even sat on council,
It's
there was
online.
not.
Thank you,
Zero line.
counselors.
Not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Joyce Barnes, would you? Okay, all right, thank you. I'm sorry? You were just up here. Go ahead.
I spoke to the comment that Liz is speaking about now. at the legislative meeting.
At the
That
workshop
comment
meeting.
that Jones Waters made was to me. So if you guys don't want to put
I'm
down,
sorry,
if you
but
guys don't want to put down,
I don't
that she said
understand
it,
why you're up.
Counselor, no.
Excuse me, please stop lying on me.
Counselor Jones Waters.
Please stop
Counselor,
lying on me.
you know what?
I don't
Thank-
accept her
Thank
Please
you.
stop
because she-
lying
Thank you
on
for
me.
your
I don't
comment.
even talk to
Counselor
you.
Jones Waters, please. Thank
I don't even
you.
talk to you, so I don't know why you're
Thank you,
lying.
Counselor Jones Waters. Thank you.
And thank you, Liz.
Stop lying. Goodness.
Okay, moving on to the finance reports, please. Consideration of the accounts payable list for October 2023. May I have a motion? May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor,
You want to do a voice vote?
please?
President Johnson,
Yes.
Vice President Rollcloud,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Council Harris. Yes. Did Councilor Brooks join us?
No, she didn't.
Councilor Beatty?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Consideration of cash balance report for September. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
President Johnson,
Yes.
Vice President Rollcloud,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Council Harris. Yes. Councilor Beatty.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Tax collectors report, Mr. Nichols, do you have that?
I actually do not.
Okay, give me a second. I think I might have it here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I do have a tax collector
Okay,
report.
thank you.
Dated October 2nd, 2023. The report reads as follows: school tax and borough taxes are due by December 31st, 2023 to avoid collection. The upset sale was September 21st, 7 properties in the borough sold. Tax collector will be at a tax collectors convention October 19th, 2023 to learn more about better serving the borough and not able to attend the October meeting. Please decide on the 2024 millage and sewer rate. We do that through the budget process. 515 taxpayers have not paid their 2023 borough taxes. Late notices will go out at the end of this month. Taxes collected from August 16th through September 27th are reflected on the attached page. For the time period, real estate taxes received by the borough, $16,364.33. Borough trash, $5,940. Borough sewer, $6,122.60 for a total of $28,426.93. That is the report, Madam President.
Thank you so much. New business. I received a call from Representative Joanna McClinton's office. They are giving Yaden a grant to our fire department. We don't know exactly how much it is yet, but I will speak with the fire department to find out exactly what that is. They are continuing to, I'll do that one later, and that's about it. Minutes, consideration of approval for the September 2021, 2023 legislative meeting minutes. May I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Nichols, can you?
I didn't know if you were going to do the question part, but okay. President Johnson,
Yes.
Vice President Rollcloud.
We should have the question part.
Any questions, concerns?
Yes. It is my concern that some of the comments from the citizens are not, it needs to be a little more specified. It needs to be a little more specified.
That's something we'll have to talk about and take a vote on at another time.
I'm sorry. No,
We'll
it's
have
not
to
that we
talk
need to
that.
talk about it. I
And-
just, for
Because it
these.
has to be restructured, as Mr.
No,
O'Kenny
we're
was
talking
saying.
about amending. I
What
would
did you
like
want
to
to
amend. For the citizens' comment, let me see here. Citizens Forum. Roman numeral 3, 2. Ms. Liz A. stated that residents would like an apology from Counselor Jones Waters. It should be a little more, we should add not exactly what the apology is for, but we should at least put in there for the use of vulgar language towards the resident.
And I disagree. And I disagree because you cannot have people constantly come up and give a citizens forum and accuse people, sit up here and lie on individuals. And I would say this, again, it should be stricken. Citizens' comments should be stricken. Stricken, whatever. Censored is good too. Censored is good too. It should be striped. How about this?
Excuse
It
me.
should be striped.
Excuse me, you have no right to speak from the audience, and I would appreciate it if you discontinue doing so.
It should be striked, as I stated, from our minutes. We never, until last year, put any citizens' comments in our minutes. We never did that. No, I don't have to get used to anything, sir, and please stop talking to me from the audience.
Point of order,
Why
please.
I'm still talking.
Point of order.
While I'm still talking.
President.
And when someone comes to the mic with their vulgar language, they should be escorted out of this council chambers.
And we thank you.
That is unacceptable.
Thank you very much for your comment.
And again, for the record, I do not talk like that. I would not use that language. So please stop lying.
Council President.
Yes.
I would just like to say that if we expect to be respected, we have to give the respect. If we expect to have some sort of decorum, we have to first start with ourselves. I heard what was said to the resident.
Wait a minute.
I heard what was
Wait a
said
minute.
to the resident.
Okay.
Several.
Thank you.
I'm not, no, because this is on point with what I'm asking for these minutes to reflect. I personally heard, not only did I hear, others heard as well.
Wait a minute.
So again.
Let me address her, please.
Now, again, those who without sin cast the first stone and break the glass or whatever that saying is. Bottom line is, we all do things that we have no business doing, but what we are called to do is to hold ourselves accountable and be responsible for our actions. Okay? We all do things in anger. At least we can admit to it, ask for forgiveness for it, and move on.
Okay.
But to continue
I
to
have a
attack the residents and expect the residents to respect us, it's not going to happen.
Excuse.
I have a comment.
And that's it.
I have a
I
comment.
move the motion to amend these minutes to at least add to that resident's comment that she wanted an apology from the counselor for using vulgar language towards a resident. That's the least.
If that is the case, we've had vile language since January of 22.
Before that.
And that says we need to go all the way back and amend every minute that we had made.
Everything.
Now, I'm going to review this video because I did not hear it, and I need to know for myself what was and wasn't said. And if it was said, it's going to be on that video.
I have a comment.
That's not true.
Go ahead, Counselor.
And that's not true. And
I'm
what
sorry,
you're-
Counselor.
And what you're actually
Counselor
saying, and what you're
Roadcloud, you
actually
have made
and
your
what you're
comment.
actually
Please
saying
let Counselor Jones
what you're
Waters
actually
make her
saying is
statement.
if you don't say
I
on the
would
video
say
that the
speak
people
for
are
yourself.
lying, that's what you're
No,
saying.
but I
yourself.
think
You
when
just-
something like this happens, it needs to be done in writing. You send a letter to the President of Council. Excuse me, I'm talking.
You send a letter to the mayor.
Send a letter.
You send a letter to the borough manager. You don't get up here and you use vile language. It's inappropriate.
Yes,
And
it
it's
is.
real simple.
Yes, it is. No, it came from
Send
you.
a letter
See? You see
stating
that?
so.
You see that? The disrespect. They don't even respect themselves. That's why they're so disrespectful to the
Okay,
people that's sitting up here.
Councilor Jones Waters,
It's
that's enough.
unacceptable.
Let's
It is
calm it down,
unacceptable.
please. Thank you.
Can we get
Lying
back-
on
can
people
we
is
get back-
unacceptable
Thank you.
as well.
Agenda, please.
Thank you. Let's get back to the vote on the minutes.
So, Vice President roll call.
No.
Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Councilor Beatty. No. The motion,
Sharon Council Harris.
oh, I'm sorry, Council Harris. Yes. The motion carries.
Thank you. Engineers report?
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Short report this evening. If you remember, we took bids on the crosswalks at the ADA ramps at various locations in the borough. At the last meeting, we reported those bids were over budget. We rebid it again, removing the ones on West Cobbs Creek Parkway. They'll be done at a later date with the TA set-aside grant. So we rebid it. 10 bids were received. The low bidder was Ernell at $248,340, and the grant amount that we got was $269,644, with a borough match of $80,000. So the borough match will be less, and it's our recommendation to award this bid tonight to Ernell so that we can prepare contracts and get them off to his office.
Okay, consideration to approve the ADA ramps and pedestrian improvement rebid. May I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Nichols?
Any questions?
Question.
Questions, concerns?
One question. Their work what is the quality of their work?
They
Has that
had
been?
the borough maintenance contract for years on stormwater. They've done other ADA ramps in the borough. So I know that Mike is always happy with them. We've been happy with their work in the borough. So.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols?
President Johnson,
Yes.
Vice President Roquel,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Council Harris. Yes. Councilor Beatty.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
And,
Mayor's report, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Don't need a vote on this tonight, but just reminding council that we are taking bids on the trash contract, which expires in December. We'll take bids in November, and if those bids come in, we'll come to this meeting in November with a recommendation for the trash bids. We've been working with both the solicitor's office and with Mike Zula on those bids.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor's report?
Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome.
And councilors and residents, my written report stands as submitted. Nothing to really underscore. The bulk of my report did center around Kerr Field, the issues around Kerr Field, but almost all of that was deliberated. So that ends my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Manager's report?
Just asking council for consideration of hiring a full-time code officer who successfully completed his probationary period.
May
So
I get a
moved.
motion? Second.
Second.
Any questions, concerns? Mr. Nichols?
President Johnson,
Yes.
Vice President Roquel,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Council Harris. Yes. Councilor Beatty.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Solicitor's report.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam President. As was stated by the engineer, we've been working on the trash bids, working with staff and the engineer in preparing those to be prepared to go out to bid. Also, too, want to bring up to date, I know that at the last council meeting, there was a motion made to talk about the Hereford track and Pannoni's involvement in that. I had the opportunity to speak to Diana Silva, who represents the tract owner. I had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Munch, our former solicitor, as well as Pannoni. They're in the process. I was satisfied in talking to Ms. Silva, who I do have a relationship with as far as other legal matters, that she anticipates that this would resolve. Hope that's the case. Needless to say, I don't think it's a big expenditure for Pannoni to prepare those plans, which was brought up at your August council meeting. They're in the process of doing so, and they told me that it should have those to me within a week. We'll talk, and then I'll forward them to Ms. Silva, and hopefully the situation will resolve, knock on whatever this is, and that. So I've been working with that. Also, too, it was brought up that we wanted to table the Civil Service Commission rules. And the reason why we're doing so, it was in talking to the chief, they really haven't been updated in 12 years. It's a long time. There's a lot of case law changes. As we know, police and fire promotions are very litigious. So often there's a lot of litigation involved those. I'm not an everyday expert on these things. So when I asked chief, had they been reviewed by council? Normally, the Civil Service Commission and many other places has their own counsel. He said they did not. So we have a good resource in our zoning hearing board solicitor, Rudolph Clark, does a lot of this civil service work. I talked to Mike Clark. They're willing to review these rules at the same price they charge the zoning hearing board. So hopefully we'll have those for you for adoption in November and see if they need to be tweaked at all based on current case law. That's really what I have as far as the solicitor's report.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Committee reports. I'm sorry,
She's still yelling out. She's still yelling out.
is there anyone here from Recreation? Is there anyone here from Public Works? Is there anyone here from the Code Department? Can you make a note that?
It's already done.
Thank you.
But there is a consideration under Public Works, two considerations for council tonight. One is the consideration of hiring a full-time Public Works employee. The resumes were dispersed to council members.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Questions, concerns? Mr. Nichols?
President Johnson,
Yes.
Vice President Rowe-Cloud,
Yes.
Councilor Jones-Waters,
Yes.
Council Harris.
I haven't reviewed any resumes, no.
Councilor Beatty.
Yes.
The motion passes. The second is a consideration for placing a utility pole and street light on Robin Road in an amount not to exceed $6,950. There was a thorough review and investigation. It's very dark in that area. I actually drove up one night and saw it. Mike did the same thing and showed some pictures. I think we need to do it because it's a safety concern that we have, so.
Okay,
So
may I have a
moved.
motion? Yeah. May I have a motion?
The motion.
Second? From someone?
Second.
Thank you. Question? Concern?
I have questions.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm all for it if it's a safety concern, absolutely. However, are there other areas that have been identified in the borough?
Mike was charged with, him and the engineer were charged with going around to look at other areas. I know there's something close to, that we discussed close to the Philadelphia, somewhere near Cobb's Creek. It's an area down there by Cobb's Creek that is very, very dark. So that may be the next one that comes to the council to make a decision on, but they are currently going around the borough doing assessment. I did tell them, and now that it's getting dark earlier, that I will come up with them to kind of ride and do what's needed to do the assessment as well.
Okay.
Now, what
Question.
about the utility poles that already are in position, however, the bulb is not as bright?
We can take that under advisement as well.
Okay.
I know a few years ago when I first got here, the borough had just finished doing that LED lighting project, but I don't think every utility pole was transferred out because that was a
Right.
grant. So we can look at that as well to do the comparison. Public Works does have a list of those light fixtures that need to be replaced. Jeff was in the process when he was here of replacing some, and I think it stopped when he left, so we can pick that project back up.
Okay. Thank you.
Question, what happened to the LED lighting?
Which-
So we had LED lights.
Well, that's what we were just talking about. So
Okay.
they were replaced. again, when Jeff was here, he was in the process of replacing more, but when he left, it stopped. So that's a project that we'll pick back up to make sure that we can do a borough-wide.
They were very,
Great.
very bright.
Thank you. Does Councilor Harris have a comment? Or
I
question?
think she was talking to someone else.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Mr. Nichols?
President Johnson,
Yes.
Vice President Rollcloud,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters,
Yes.
Councilor Harris. Yes. Councilor Beatty,
Yes.
motion carried,
Thank
passes.
you. Old business, Ms. Johnson, did you want to come back up? No. Thank you. Citizens Forum, anyone have any concerns, comments that you would like to make at this time? Mr. Trent?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to mention, didn't get a chance to talk last month because you ended it too soon. There was mention that some counselors had attended some of the events given locally here in Gaydon. But at the same time, nobody says anything about counselors not attending workshop meetings, legislative meetings, or even having the committee meetings that haven't existed for over a year. And the committee meetings are when a counselor should be talking about, a topic, public safety, whatever, and having attendance with the department head. That hasn't happened in well over a year. So, I mean, before people start talking about what others don't do, they ought to look in the mirror and see what they're not doing, okay? And as far as the profanity, I don't know what happened to Councilor Brooks ever since she had her outrage that one time. I haven't seen her in a meeting since. I don't know if she's really active or what her status is. Do you? I mean, she's a counselor.
She is still a counselor.
I know, but I mean, is she gonna be active? She hadn't attended a meeting in what, 5-6 months?
At what point are you going to
I mean-
require her
Why
to
is she
resign for
still
lack of
talking?
attendance?
I mean, it's one thing, you have somebody on the phone, but people don't even show up. I mean,
At
that's
this
ridiculous.
point, Counselor Brooks has been in touch with the PSAB. She has reason to not be here. And it has been approved through the PSAB. She is still an active counselor.
For how long? I mean, she's got what, another 3 years?
Well, the only way you can basically get rid of a counselor is if through a federal offense of theft. Excuse me. The only way you get rid of a counselor is through a theft, some federal offense. And that's the law.
But how's she benefiting Gaten as a counselor?
Can I ask a question, John?
Sure.
So what about dereliction of duty? That's not, doesn't the governor have the authority to?
So unfortunately, what's happened is, there used to be a provision in the Borough Code that if you missed a certain amount of meetings or dereliction of duty, that council could vote to remove you. That was struck down by the courts.
Yep.
So the only real way to remove a counselor, as the council president talked about, was person can resign, but the person could choose, as untasteful as that is, not to show up. And there's really no way for us to remove them. If they did have some kind of felony conviction, what we could do is we would be able to petition the Delaware County DA or the Attorney General for what's called a quo warranto action. That quo warranto action is then those people ask that that council member be removed. Then that is forwarded to the Pennsylvania Senate, and the Pennsylvania Senate can take action. Unfortunately, it does not happen very often.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Trent.
Thank you.
Prior to closing, I'd like to say I attended the library bingo. A lot of fun. People seem to be very, very happy. Job well done, library. I also attended the fire department's October fire prevention event. Very interesting. I wish more residents would come out and see how easy it is to put a fire out on the top of your stove or a fire in your oven on Thanksgiving Day, and where the whole house burns up. It is so easy. More people need to come out and get educated about this so you don't panic. Learn how to use a fire extinguisher. All you have to do is pull the pin. It's easy. Learn to not throw water on an electrical cord. You've got to say these things to yourselves because when it happens, you panic, you do the wrong thing, and the whole house burns down. So next year, please come out in October. When they give this event, you may save your life, your children's lives. They may save your life. Everybody come out to this fire prevention event that they're having. It's a wonderful thing. Neighbors, residents, thank you so much for coming. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Sure, no problem.
You need these?
Got to keep the insurance people happy.
Oh, here's one more. Change the price.
What the Phillies lost. I just checked the Phillies lost. The Phillies lost tonight.